Hello everyone and welcome back to another day of Noir, to another day of this Noirvember challenge, and thank you so much for joining me today when we are going to talk about a film that is yet another adaptation of the work of James Cain, one of my favorite authors. And if last year we discussed The Postman Always Rings Twice, today we're going to talk about Mildred Pierce and its film version released in 1945 and directed by Michael Curtiz.
Mildred, a name gasped in the night, the one last word of a dying man, but one word that tells 1,000 stories of a woman who left her mark on every man she met.
Mildred had more to offer a man in a glance than most women give in a lifetime.
Mildred knew what she wanted. It wasn't too particular how she got it.
Mildred? Loving her was like shaking hands with the devil.
As I was saying before, it is indeed a pleasure to be talking about another film that stems from the work of James Cain and to be talking about a movie like Mildred Pierce. Now, this is a film that is mostly considered to be a melodrama with a noirish atmosphere and plot points. And that is the eternal question when it comes to film noir. Is it noir or not? So yes, it is complicated and at the same time fascinating. That's what we're here for. And in the case of, again, Mildred Pierce, that's something that has been brought up in several occasions. But in my case, to be honest, I don't really care that much. In my opinion, the film version of 1945, it is a fantastic movie and it has many elements that are film noir. So having said that, furthermore, Mildred Pierce contains some fantastic female characters. James M. Cain particularly inspired. He was very skilled at creating memorable femme fatales, like the ones that appear in The Postman Always Rings Twice and in Double Indemnity. But in Mildred Pierce, he also created someone entirely different. Set in Glendale, California, during the 1930s, Mildred Pierce's story centers around a self-made middle-class working housewife that represents one of the most complete and most engaging female characters. Thus, as I was saying, for me, James Cain was one of the best writers of the 20th century, and Mildred Pierce is certainly an example of that. The novel, that spans several years, maybe because of that fact, was a particularly difficult one to adapt, and because of the previous success of Double Indemnity just a year before in 1944, the producer Jerry Wald decided to focus the story around a crime and then have the story told in a series of flashbacks, which is also another staple of film noir. This contributed to saturate the indeed melodramatic story of Mildred Pierce with a noirish atmosphere definitely different from the original novel. Precisely the name of Jerry Wald, along with another very prominent producer, Mark Hellinger, were two of the most, I should say, important producer figures in terms of their influence in film noir. We talked about Mark Hellinger when we discussed last year the film Crisscross, so it's now Jerry Wald's turn. They both shared a common background in journalism, and in the case of Jerry Wald, he began in Hollywood as a screenwriter and working similarly to Billy Wilder in collaboration with another writer. Jerry Wald, along with Richard Macaulay, hit the jackpot with the scripts of The Roaring Twenties, They Drive by Night, or Manpower. He began working at Warner Brothers, where he remained for many years, and at the beginning of the 40s he began producing as well, precisely at the recommendation of Mark Hellinger. He quickly got respect and very good reputation for the quality and success of his productions, starting with a film like Across the Pacific in 1942, a film trying to emulate the success of The Maltese Falcon, having again Humphrey Bogart, Mary Astor, and John Huston directing. Jerry Wald also produced films like Dark Passage, Key Largo, Caged, all in Warner Brothers, and outside Warner Brothers, Clash by Night, or The Harder They Fall, which was Humphrey Bogart's last movie. These, along with Mildred Pierce, are some of his best contributions to film noir. The script of Mildred Pierce, although officially penned by Ranald McDougall, was in fact worked by several writers, most notably by Catherine Turney, William Faulkner, or the future Blacklist victim Albert Maltz. And again, the most notable differences between the film and the book are, in the first case, that there is a crime in the story, and also the way it is told in terms of the flashbacks that I was mentioning. The ending also differs from the one in the book, but essentially what the film does is transform a story about a Depression-era working mother with a very intense relationship with her daughter into a tale of betrayal in a very stylized Warner Brothers way. In that regard, the more recent adaptation of HBO by Todd Haynes and starring Kate Winslet and Guy Pearce is substantially more faithful to the novel. In my case, I have to say that I appreciate both ways. I really enjoy the novel and therefore a more faithful version of that story, but also the way it is told in 1945's Mildred Pierce. It is also a very enjoyable retelling, so especially at the hands of the people that participated in it. A very important thing to comment about Mildred Pierce is that it was a timely comeback for Joan Crawford after the end of her long-term relationship and contract with MGM. This was her first Warner Brothers picture after 2 years actually of not making any movie. Mildred Pierce was crucial for her in terms of redefining her image for the public and starting a path, a very successful path for her for several years, in which she starred in several film noir melodramas such as Possessed, Daisy Canyon, or Flamingo Road. In Mildred Pierce, Joan Crawford was indeed able to transform. At the end of the day, she proved to be a very intelligent actress, adapting as times changed and years went by, and thus it is no wonder that she is still remembered as one of the most prominent actresses of Hollywood's golden era. But Mildred Pierce not only helped Joan Crawford in revitalizing her career, its resounding success also helped several people that participated in it, such as Zachary Scott, an actor that experienced a career boost for a few years before it decayed sadly. Also, Eve Arden, who has a supporting character in Mildred Pierce, received her only Oscar nomination, and in the case of Michael Curtiz, the success of Mildred Pierce meant an improvement of his contract with Warner Brothers and a significant increase in his salary. The person that maybe didn't get to capitalize as much on the success of Mildred Pierce was the actress Anne Blythe, who plays Vita, Mildred Pierce's daughter. She was 17 at the time of the release of Mildred Pierce, and she provides, in my opinion, one of the most impactful and fantastic performances of her career. Again, at only 17 years of age, she is terrific, and also received a nomination for Best Supporting Actress. But after Mildred Pierce, she had an accident that resulted in a broken back and had a long convalescence of over a year and a half, which, as I was saying before, prevented a little from her to fully capitalizing on the enormous success of Mildred Pierce. Thankfully, though, she was able to recover and she enjoyed a very eclectic, fantastic career. Visually, Mildred Pierce is a very stylized film noir, which owes a lot to the cinematography by Ernest Haller and its art director Anton Groth. We previously discussed Anton Groth's impeccable designs when we discussed the movie Captain Blood, also directed by Michael Curtiz. He worked extensively for Warner Brothers and again was known particularly for being very meticulous, even indicating in his designs the best angle to shoot the set that he was conceiving. He was also known for the influence he had received of modernism and German expressionism, which in turn influenced his work in movies like Little Caesar, Deception, Noir Apprentice, Possessed, The Unsuspected, or The Two Mrs. Carols. Ernest Haller was also a fantastic cinematographer, and he is most notably known for having participated in Gone with the Wind and also in films like Jezebel or Dark Victory. In terms of film noir, he left his mark in movies like The Unfaithful, Strange Intruder, and later on in a film like Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, which has film noir influence. His work, along with Anton Groth's, is definitely captivating. Their skills, combined with Michael Curtiz's expertise in storytelling and also in character presentation, truly make Mildred Pierce stand out, and it's one of the reasons why I am discussing this film today, because aside from, again, the fantastic performances, how this film is told and also how it is shot, the use of light and shadow in this film, especially how the crime takes place, it is fantastic and is something that really deserves to be relished. So if you haven't watched yet 1945's Mildred Pierce, I highly encourage you to do so. Fantastic work, a highly enjoyable movie that comes from the work of James Malahan Cain. A fantastic combination in my book. So thank you so much for watching today's video. Thank you so much for sharing the love for classic movies, and see you soon with another video. Bye!